are actually thrown into the Coastal Security Police because they found it as a punishment posting, some of them, and they don't even have jetties. Jetties are most important to actually station a boat. And one more thing, are the boats that have been sanctioned by the government of India, and there is no diesel. Even because the first 12 nautical miles, which is 25 kilometers, the boat
has we all agree
that
your 10 years is quite a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. The state governments are saying
2611 has scarred us forever.
Yes.
But there are lessons learned, and the good news is that we have learned from and we have learned to focus on the areas that were completely possibly overlooked or were not thought of serious. Whoever thought that in dinghies Pakistani perpetrators or handlers would come down to Mumbai, would get down at the Mumbai coast and then wreak havoc, would leave the country's financial capital. But yes, indeed, as we all agree, and there are specific areas which still need attention and really fast attention. I thank all of you for joining us on this broadcast at this point in time. But as we said, that today we have broken down our broadcast into multiple bits. We look into each and every aspect to tell you the story of what happened 10 years back and how we as a country can now look ahead. It's been 10 years and the entire country still waits for justice. Justice to prevail from Pakistan. Several judges attending the particular 2611 case in Pakistan courts have either been transferred or given with other cases to handle. Even Pakistan's public prosecutor was assassinated in April 2015 in his own country. So we ask, why Pakistan isn't cooperating? Are they scared to accept their own homegrown terrorists, or is there something else? Let's take a look at this report.
The trial of 2611 in Pakistan is a bizarre case of delayed justice in one of the most deadly terror attacks. A month after 2611 attack, Pakistan law enforcement agencies arrested Lashkar-e-Taiba operations commander Zaikur Rahman Lakhvi and 6 others, despite Islamabad High Court's order in April 2015 that the trial should be completed in 2 months. The trial is far from over. Pakistan first denied any role in the attacks, even refused to acknowledge Ajmal Kasab as its citizen. It is only after India raised the issue at international forums that Pakistan security forces rounded up the 7 suspects. United States and United Kingdom provided the evidence of LET's involvement. One of the prime accused, Zakir Rahman Lakhvi, was arrested during a Pak Army raid on an LET center in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Trial began in Pakistan in 2009. Pakistan's Federal Investigative Agency filed the first charge sheet in November 2009, but did not mention the role of LET founder Hafiz Saeed. India had provided Pakistan with a number of dossiers establishing the role of LET chief in planning and executing the 2611 attacks. Zakir-ur-Rahman Lakhvi was granted bail in April 2015. Lakhvi even fathered a child while in jail. Lakhvi and other accused have been provided with access to television, mobile phones and internet. Lakhvi is still in charge of the LET operations. In May 2013, Chaudhry Zulfikar Ali, prosecutor building the case against Lakhvi and others, was assassinated in Islamabad. Ali's death came at a time when he was able to extract witness testimony about the boats used in the attacks and the money trail in the financing of the attackers. Pakistan authorities have filed total 5 charge sheets in the case. 20 unnamed suspects have been mentioned. It is yet not known if the Pakistan authorities have managed to identify or arrest any of them. Indian officials believe that out of the 7 suspects, barring Lakhvi and 2 others, don't matter to the case. Tariq Khosha, former head of the Pak's Federal Investigative Agency, had mentioned on the need of more investigation. Writing in Pak newspaper in 2015, Khosha said trial will not be over with the disposal of those under arrest or on bail. Other missing links need to be uncovered after the absconder's arrest. Pak authorities said that 27 Indian witnesses are yet to record their statements in the court. India had refused Pakistan's request of a joint trial in the case. India argues that the Indian witnesses can't testify on the conspiracy part of the case. Khosa, in his article, had cited some key findings. Ajmal Kasab was a Pakistani national. Kasab had joined a badminton group. Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorists were trained and launched by sea. Casings of explosive devices used in Mumbai were found in this camp. Investigators located the training camp at Tata in Sindh province. Pakistani trawler used in the attack was identified. The money trial for the purchase was linked to the accused. Operations room in Karachi used during the attack was identified. With frequently changing the investigators involved in the 26/11 attack, despite India submitting several dossiers including voice samples, the progress of 26/11 trial in Pakistan is hanging in balance. Bureau Report, India Ahead.
10 years down the line, the trial continues to drag on in Pakistan. There is no clear intent on the Pakistani authorities on their part to bring this case to a closure. India has presented one dossier after the other, but every little bit of evidence has been discarded and dumped to the trash bin by Pakistan. Let's open this up for the big discussion at this point in time. Joining us is Colonel Hariharan, defense expert from Chennai. Noel Swaranjit Sen, ex-DGP, joins us from Hyderabad. General Muvera Nanjappa joins us from Bengaluru. Radhika Khera of the Congress also with us on the broadcast, as is Raman Malik of the BJP. And also, we are joined by our colleague Jujhar Singh. Jujhar, incidentally, was in Pakistan just 2.5 months after this dastardly attack. Jujhar, let's get started with you first. You know, this must have been, Jujhar, one of the most scariest and one of the most disturbing assignments of your life so far.
No, absolutely. And you know what's interesting is you were just mentioning just now about the dossier and the evidence that India presented to Pakistan, which has not been acted upon. I can tell you one thing we did about that dossier. So as you mentioned, we were in Pakistan, in February 2009, which is 2.5 months after the attack. I saw that in the dossier, one of the pieces of evidence that India had supplied to Pakistan was that the boat in which they came had a Yamaha engine. And so we found those markings of the Yamaha engine referred to a dealership of Yamaha in Pakistan, where it was bought in Karachi, basically. Now, I discovered when I reached Lahore, the head office of that dealership of Yamaha was in Lahore, and I happened to be there. So we immediately went over there. And it just so happened, good for us, that the owner of the dealership was also sitting in the office at the time. We go inside over there, and he refused to talk, in public in front of the cameras. He said, 100 agencies ne mujhe interview kar diya, aur wo keh rahe ki kisi se baat nahi karna. So I just said, okay, let's have an informal conversation. We won't record you. So in that, he confirmed to me that the Yamaha engine had not just been bought from his dealership in Karachi, but he confirmed it had been bought by a Pakistani national who's a resident of Karachi. And he says that all that information has been given to the Pakistani agencies. He also confirmed that that man had been identified and questioned by the agencies of Pakistan, but never taken into detention.
Just imagine, Jujhar. I mean, and then I believe that something uncomfortable also happened with you post the broadcast of that piece. But here is one more proof, Jujhar, and I want you to explain whether you would agree with me or not, of how Pakistan knew, and Pakistan not just chose to stay quiet, but conspire in this conspiracy.
Sanket, I'll just tell you a little story about what happened with us, which will tell you exactly why the Pakistani authorities are complicit with all the terrorists over there. So in that same trip, in fact, the next day, or maybe it was 48 hours later from the incident I just told you about, we went outside the place where Hafiz Saeed lives in Lahore. And we found over there that he lives in this relatively small lane, and both sides of the lane are cordoned off, and the Pakistani security forces, uniformed men with gun-toting people, have surrounded both sides, protecting that lane over there. As we approach that area where Hafiz Saeed lives, there are also people of the Jamaat-ul-Dawa who you start seeing about 1 kilometer before All right, who you start seeing before you approach that house over there. I think in total we saw probably about somewhere between 18 and 25 Jamaat-ul-Dawa men over there. So you see, one, the security forces protecting that area. Two, you see the Jamaat-ul-Dawa people. And third, interesting, you see plainclothes operatives over there. You can take a guess who those plainclothes operatives are. The other interesting we found over there was that the people calling the shots are not the Jamaat-ul-Dawa men. They're not the security forces, but the plainclothes men. They're the ones calling the shots. And finally, and most interesting, what we saw was that, you know how sometimes in the streets of Delhi or wherever you are, you see these, two men and they're walking, with fingers holding each other on the road. We saw a Jamaat-ul-Dawa man with one of these plainclothes operative of the Pakistan agencies walking hand in hand, holding finger near Hafiz Saeed's house. So what we know that the organizations like the Lashkar-e-Toiba are foot soldiers of the ISI. I have seen it first-hand visually, with them literally holding hands with each other outside Hafiz Saeed's house.
So now, when you look back, Jujhar, it's been 10 years, but the degree of involvement of the Pakistani deep state, now that in a way manifested itself right in front of your eyes, Jujhar.
Yes.
And clearly, in the involvement, just one bit before I let you go, the involvement, Jujhar, of Pakistani special forces in preparing this Fidai group, which attacked Mumbai. Now, what are the inputs that you picked up over there? And, you were being hounded over there literally when you were in Pakistan, clearly on a professional assignment.
No, absolutely. I mean, we were constantly monitored, especially once we appeared outside Hafiz Saeed's house. There were a whole bunch of people tailing us, right till the end. But, Sanket and Saurav, let's be absolutely clear. Organizations like the Lashkar-e-Toiba and the Jaish-e-Mohammed and the Hizbul Mujahideen are creatures trained and funded and ordered by the ISI and the Pakistani army. If anybody thinks that justice will come from the 26/11 attacks in Pakistan, it will never come.
No, but then the way ahead,
to say that, I think it will never come. And I'll just tell you the quick reason from what I understand why there's a difference between these, say, for example, 3 groups that I've named, and those terror groups in Pakistan who operate on the western borders of Afghanistan. There's a difference in their ideology. The Western guys come from a sect of Islam which believes that overthrow the state and have an Islamic state over there. That doesn't suit Pakistan, the Pakistani establishment, so they're going after them on the western border with Afghanistan. These guys on the eastern border with India come from a narrative where you don't overthrow the state itself.
No, I get your point, but
you overthrow the foreigners.
Yeah, but Jujhar, I think the larger point that you're making, thank you very much, Jujhar, for your insight. Yeah. The larger point that Jujhar seems to make, which is at the crux of what we have been discussing, is the fact that how much can we expect from Pakistan? It's very clear that you can expect nothing and not be hopeful about achieving anything with the state players of Pakistan.
And you see how they have been dragging on as far as the trials are concerned, Sanket. It's very, very clear that the intent is absolutely clear, and that is why possibly today we saw that the US also came out and announced and double the bounty in a way on the key perpetrators of this heinous attack. But that brings me to my next question. If I could bring in General Muvera Nanjappa on this. General Nanjappa, now here was Jujhar narrating his first-hand experience in Pakistan. On the other hand, today when we talk of justice, now as this trial drags on in Pakistan, the 26/11 trial, now it is also being said that the accused in the case have actually very bright chances of acquittal. General Nanjappa.
See, Pakistan, the general public or the elected representatives may speak anything, but the deep state of the army and the ISI have not forgotten of 1971, and also they want to use the terrorists as the force multipliers, and that helps them and also helps them in keeping our Indian army, which is much superior to them, to tie down on the borders. That is how all the indications what we are getting now is they are going to continue whenever their opportunity arises. Now recently the indications are they are also helping this in Khalistan terrorists, because what happened in Amritsar recently, they thrown the grenade at the congregation and disturbed and killed some people. These are the indications. Whenever there is an opportunity comes, they will do it, and we have to be fully prepared. And I heard the discussion that we have to prepare for the integrated national security, not isolated navy separately, coastal